Gentlemen, always a pleasure to get to pick both of your brains. Zellsis and Kaplan, welcome back from Madrid. Congratulations on the big win. You know, we're going to talk about all that stuff, but I do want to hear from you guys right off the bat. I mean, give me very general, high-level impressions. How was Madrid?
Madrid, besides winning, was not great. We got a bunch of food poisoning and sickness and everything like that, but I mean, we won, so Madrid was great.
Yeah, it was great. Yeah. My food poisoning didn't kick in until after I got home.
You managed to dodge all of it until
I got home.
I'm sorry, but also glad, right? Like, it could have been worse.
Yeah.
You guys obviously just come back from Madrid. You've returned back to Americas, and you come back with hardware. If you were to be able to boil it down, what do you feel like is the biggest thing that you learned about yourselves and you learned about your team during the run in Madrid?
Personally, I learned I need to, I learned a couple things. I need to value self-care on a physical health, nutrition side a little bit better, because that was the first time in a tournament I started to feel burned out mid-tournament, just exhausted. There's just so much you have to deal with, and I don't want to be dealing with that fatigue at the times it matters most. But to deal with that, I had to delegate and lean on the team more than I ever have and give up some responsibility. And I definitely learned as a leader that that's a big part of leadership. And then I guess for me, for the team, the thing I learned about the team the most is just I'm so proud of how bought in they are, that the atmosphere, the energy, the narrative we buy into, where our emotions are at, everything starts there. And I've had a lot of teams and I've had a lot of esports players who are like, yeah, but our defaults and our strats and whatever. And this team really believes that everything starts there and all put work in to maintaining that and getting that in the right place because of it.
I think the biggest thing for this team, for me, is how fast we can reset. We all want to win, so it's just if we lose a game or a series, like the Gen G loss, for example, in Madrid, we instantly went home and it was just let everything out on the table, and then we just went next. And then I think that's a huge thing for a team, because a lot of teams, they just hold in their frustrations, they hold in their mistakes, they don't talk about it, and then it just gets bottled up and people start to hate each other. So yeah, I like that about our team.
How formative and important was the loss to Gen G in that tournament run? As obviously, hindsight now, you can take a look back at it and see how everything played out, but how important would you say losing was during that run?
I definitely think losing, if you're winning everything, you're not really learning anything, right? So I think we're kind of blessed in this thing where we we'll lose one series out of 6, and then we'll just learn a bunch from that series, whether it be in-game or out-of-game. So, losing a series every now and then, I think the Gen G one was actually very important for us to win Madrid. I feel even if we won that series, I still think we would have won Madrid either way. Yeah. But losing that and then going to lowers and having the talk we did, going through what we did in that series, I think it led up to everything in the final.
Yeah.
What would you say was your biggest focus leading into the tournament? When you think about, again, aside from defaults and stuff, wanting to understand a little bit more about the dynamics of the team, what was your focus leading into Madrid?
The defaults. Just kidding. I would say just maintaining the form we'd had. So obviously, coming into kickoff, the narrative was Sentinels have played so much in an off season. They've done so much. Coming into, finishing the kickoff, Sentinels had the longest road. Sentinels have shown so much. Sentinels have won so much. And just by the time that we had finished kickoff, I think we'd already shown and gone through so much that we were really understanding how much of the game comes down to us just staying composed, us leveling up the small things like that. And so I think because we had an extra buffer in that offseason going into kickoff, it was just continuing to apply these lessons, basically making sure that we don't get complacent, that we don't fall behind in leveling up our game or our team skills on an atmospheric level, just staying ahead as we just enter this rat race with all these other teams coming from their own kickoff.
I think outside the game too, we're very good at reading ourselves in a sense, where it's I think a lot of teams just think it's all about the game, whereas we've kind of like come into this team where it's more so about treating ourselves better outside the game, more treating ourselves as like better teammates outside the game, stuff like that. It comes back to like us talking about our problems and stuff, but like that's a really big thing for like preparation and everything like that, you know, excluding the defaults. Sure. But I think that's like a really big thing is like just taking care of ourselves, and like when we have bad days, bad scrims, bad strats, or bad like calls, or bad anything, teamwork, we really know, like we're pretty good about handling that outside of the game, and I think that's very important.
As you think about this team and everything that you guys have been through, rolling all the way back to off-season, like let's start page one. What would you say is the biggest difference from that team to this team that sits with me today?
I think it's been like levels. Like when I first joined as a sixth, I was talking to Cap a lot about how I think a team should be, how he thinks a team should be outside the game, like exclude the game. Yeah. But like outside of that, like how I always think, you know, I came to Cap and told him like, I think the best teams are a brotherhood. Mm-hmm. I think you being able to rage at someone if you have like an argument, or you being able to tell someone, yo, your feet stink type thing, you know, like being as open as you are, I think that's very important in a team. And I think we've always started at the start with this roster of that, but it's like improving levels to that. So it's like, you know, nervousness, comms, composure, like Cap said earlier, it's like we're just getting more and more leveled up as like a boss, I guess I'll compare. Sure. You know, and I think that's just all it is. Like we're just climbing the mountaintop every version of this team. You know, like we had the Sentinels Invitational. We climbed them out, like we climbed another road. We had the Africa tournament. We climbed another. You know, we have kickoff. We climbed another. Like we're just continuously climbing the mountain. And you know, I don't think we've hit our peak yet. And hopefully, I mean, we've had a lot of team talks. You know, hopefully we'll just keep climbing.
Kaplan, you mentioned something earlier that kind of caught my attention, and I want to pick your brain on a little bit more. Is this? You mentioned complacency. Now, it's just been kickoff and Masters, and I think there's the easy, like, yeah, but we want to win champs. And there's truth to that, right? But now that you guys have tasted victory on the international stage, now that you guys have dealt with that, how do you come back domestically and stay hungry, right? Like, how do you individually do that? How do you instill that into your team? How do you, I mean, and for you too, Zellsis, how do you buy into that message? Because that's something that's easy to say, right? Like, you know, we won the first, but we want to win more. How do you truly believe it and buy into it?
Yeah, I think, you know, if you look back at Jordan's last answer, he's talking about climbing a mountain, you know, us taking steps. We have been so focused on ourselves. We are at this point so bought into a growth mindset and just focusing on our own improvement and working hard and learning from our mistakes. And we didn't go in winning without losing. We learned how to lose, we learned how to learn from losing, and we, you know, there was a moment in the middle of grand finals where I said, okay, forget all that, the trophy's right there, let's go get it. But basically, to me, up until that moment, we had just been focusing on ourselves, applying what we learn, learning when we make mistakes. And I think even the moments we slipped up in Madrid were when we stopped doing that. When we, okay, this upper final is super important, let's get a veto advantage, things like that. Those were mistakes I learned. We're just so focused on ourselves that I think it's been so rewarding that it's really easy to go into this post-Madrid kind of situation we're in and just stay focusing on ourselves. It's hard to get complacent when the win and the trophy isn't what we talk about and what we think about. You know, our goal is to be a dynasty, like to be a team that can maintain consistency, that can look excellent for years. And the way you do that is focusing on yourselves. And we just got back from Madrid, and it's not how do we stay winning and beating 100 Thieves or beating Leviatán or Loud or whatever. It's what are our weak points as a team? And now we have an opportunity for the next 5 weeks to work on those while we're in LA, while we're grinding between matches each weekend. And yeah, just staying focused on ourselves and our own growth is at this point, I don't doubt we will be able to do that.
Do you have any additional thoughts?
No. I wanted him to say the dynasty. I think the biggest thing, I mean, just to add, is like, I expected like winning, because like I've been chasing a win my whole career, my whole, you know, whatever. That's why I do esports. Yeah. And I think like the beauty in our team, to put it in perspective for people, is like we won Madrid, and on the venue home, we were like, okay, how do we prepare for Shanghai now? Like, I don't, even like winning teams. I mean, obviously, there's certain teams that have continuously won, but it's like, I've never been a part of a team that has like done something or gotten somewhere and is like, okay, like, we're not gonna grow an ego. Like, we're gonna go home and work now. Like, we're gonna focus on the next trophy at hand, the next steps at hand. It's like, it's just like a beautiful thing and like set us up for, you know, what we wanna do. Just create a dynasty.
Yeah. I had the privilege of casting your guys' match when you qualified for Madrid. And I think one of the things that I started to realize during that match is that there's this really cool potential to be at the dawning of the era of Sentinels. And I certainly hope that that's the case. Thank you guys so much for your time.
Thank you. Buy the Sentinels bundle.
Buy the Sentinels bundle.